What's going on, PWC fans? You got Sniper here, back with the PWC Week 1 transactions. Now, I apologise for how late this video is. I've had quite a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, so I really haven't had the chance to upload this. I didn't get home till Wednesday, and as soon as I got home, I just really haven't had the time to upload it, so I've decided to re-record it. And yeah, this is going up super late. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure the week 2 matches are over now. So these are all the trades that go into week 2. So, yeah, we're just gonna hop right into this. We have 3 D-League transactions and 1 main league transaction this week. So our first one is made by the Charlotte B-Drills, and they have decided to drop Cryogonal and pick up Porygon 2. They did have the points to do this, because they had quite a lot left over, which they gained from drafting Mega Sceptile. Now, this is a pretty interesting trade. He loses like Rapid Spin support, so and then also Cryogonal has quite a bit of special bulk, and it's a pretty hard hitter, as well as losing Stab Ice, which is a pretty nice stab to have. But by gaining P2, he gains a Great Wall that hits decently hard, gets reliable recovery, things like Thunder Wave and Toxic, making it a pretty reliable wall. Being able to hold that Eviline makes it very bulky. Obviously, being a bit knockoff weak, his team, it's not very knockoff weak, but it's not like super weak to it, so it can be dealt with. He has a Pangoro which does 4 times resist knockoff. Also fighting weak now. He does have a Tauros, so 2 normal types is a bit questionable. But the main problem I'm seeing is this doesn't really patch up his fighting weakness, which sort of builds. He has an immunity in Mismagius, but you can't really bring that every game. And his resistances are Primarina and Thunderous T. However, a lot of fighting types get ice and poison coverage, so you can't really see time because it gets predictable, and then they can just, predict your switch. Because literally, like, a lot of teams have good fighting types, and considering quite a few get things like knockoff, like fighting types go through on fighting coverage, and then knockoff, and then like Ice Punch, Poison Jab, because a lot of fighting types tend to sort of get that coverage, that literally blows his team back. So that's something you need to watch out for. But it does do a bit more than Porygon, and it's not like it can take a lot of hits as well. So it does add to his bulk, which is nice because he had Rotom Heat and Donphan as his main walls. Everything else was pretty offensive. But yeah, next up we have Tim and his New Jersey Dwebbles. There's a sad Dwebble up at the top because either he doesn't have a logo or I couldn't find one. So Double's pretty sad about that. But he decided to drop Magnezone and pick up Superior. Now Magnezone did nothing really on his team because he already had a Rotom, and I believe he had a Steel. Yeah, he had a Mega Scissor as well. So Magnezone didn't really fit on the team very well. It took away the Magnet Pool user from Scissor. That's great, but only one team tends to have that, and he has a Dog Trio, so he really doesn't have to worry about that. However, by picking up Superior, it doesn't. I don't see it helping a whole lot, because again, he has a Rotom-Mow, which is a special attacking grass type. So he sort of dropped one useless mon on his team to pick up, not as useless mon, but still a pretty useless mon. He has a lot of special attackers on his team, in things like Gothitelle and Tapu Fini, Rotom-Mow as I've mentioned. So he wasn't insanely desperate for it. And Superior, it's a good mon, but besides its speed, its stats are a bit meh. It doesn't hit insanely hard. It has to get to that +2 really. Its coverage is not good, and again, Dragon Pulses and HP Fires aren't doing anything till you get to at least +2. So it's a pretty interesting trade. However, he does have 2 more, so if he feels like it doesn't work, I guess he can make transactions. So that is there for him if he needs to. But I don't want to sound like a dick, but probably I feel like he could have been a bit smarter with his transactions. But our last D-League transaction is Smeagol and his Hidden Valley Rolts, and he has dropped Volaby for Licky Licky. Now, shout out to Smeagol for having the same mon as me. You know, he gets extra sniper points for that by picking up Licky Licky. But all jokes aside, by dropping Volaby, he loses a defogger. That's all I really noticing to do. Pretty much what Mana Burst does. So it's a wall. Defog's the main thing that he loses. Not too much of an issue. He has an extra drill for Rapid Spin. However, that's really now his only good hazard remover left. He has Swallow, but you're never going to run Defog on that. However, by picking up Licky Licky, gives him a great cleric. So he can pass wishes to some of his bulkier mons like Gigalith, so he can keep that sound going for the extra drill. Seismitoad, who I don't know, it doesn't get recovery. And it takes like wish pressure off of Mega Gardevoir, because well, guard can run wish, doesn't pass the biggest wishes in the world, and sometimes you just want to run like sub 3 attacks or just like 4 attacks and just use it as a nuke, which is one of the best things it does. Licky Licky also gives him a normal type, which is nice, because outside of Muck, he didn't really, Alola Muck, he didn't have the best ghost switches. Actually, he had a Swallow, so, but you don't always want to switch that thing in. More of a, wants to come in for free. But yeah, Licky Licky, pretty nice mon. And again, free Wi-Fi, look at that. But yeah, now we're going to move on to the main league, and this was actually a transaction made by myself. So I decided to make 2 transactions in dropping Alakazam and Serena for Celebi and Hitmontop. So what I lose from dropping these 2, I lose speed, which is the main thing I lose. It sucks quite a bit. I do have like decent speed. I have things like Sneasel and Lycanroc, but outside of that, not all of my mons are like the quickest mons. And then I also lose like Stab Psychic, Stab Grass. This is without talking about the other traits, of course. I lose a Rapid Spinner by dropping Serena. However, I'm going to pick most of these things back up in my 2 picks. I'll talk about Celebi first. By picking up Celebi, I have the Grass type and the Psychic type in one mon, which is great. We have a Stealth Rock Setter, which is really nice. We're still keeping that U-turn momentum going, so we don't lose anything by that. It's a mon with reliable recovery, getting things like T-Wave, so it can be a wall, it can be offensive, has great setup with Nasty Plot and SD, so I can tap off both sides. It gives me base 100 speed, which I did not have before, which is pretty crazy to think about. But it also just provides me with some more bulk in general. My team was not the bulkiest, and for my week 1 match, it just showed how much I really needed some just some mons that can be run more defensive without having to run things like Nidoqueen defensive all the time, because you really don't want to be doing that with a mon like that. But yeah, Hitmontop next. This was buffed up to tier 3, and I can see why. It's a really good mon. It's a reliable spinner, has good bulk on both sides. Intimidate is a really nice ability. Intimidate actually supports my team really nicely. Excuse me. It can also give me Stab Fighting. Didn't have that, and I feel like Stab Fighting is a thing that should be on most teams if you can get it. Gives me even more priority, which is really nice. I literally have every priority in the game now, apart from Aqua Jet and Vacuum Wave, I believe. Because I'm pretty sure this thing doesn't get Vacuum Wave. But Hitmontop also it gets the Technician as well, which is another great ability, powering up things like Mach Punch, Bullet Punch. It can. I wish I had this before. Could have used this as a sort of switch into Mega Tyranitar, but you know, I didn't want to make them before week 1 because I wanted to sort of see how the team went. Realised it did not go well, so I had to make a couple ones. The only thing I'm really losing here is the speed. I'm gaining a lot, but I am losing that speed factor, which is it's pretty unfortunate, but outside of that, I still have the offensive presence on my team with things like Volcanion, Dragonite, Mega Scissor, Sneasel, all of those mons, Nidoqueen. And then Serena is just a bit meh as a mon. My draft analysis as well it's not really like, it's pretty underwhelming. So I feel like something like Celebi, which is a lot more versatile, can be run offensive, defensive, physical, special, great coverage, and then Hitmontop, which is just gives me stab fighting, and a mon that just takes hits better because it has fewer weaknesses, which is nice. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that for too much because I don't wanna seem like I'm talking about myself too much. But that is the end of this. Again, really sorry it's late. I'm gonna be trying to improve the quality of these because I want to make them look a bit nicer. But yeah, with all that said, I'll see you in a couple days because I'm so late with the week 2 transactions. So I'll see you then.